If you have a desire to become a better version of your current self, then this podcast is for you. I share with you helpful thoughts, tips, and stories surrounding fitness and self-improvement which you can apply to your life today. So for those of you that want to take control of your life, to learn, to grow, to become that which you desire most, I am your host, Connor Malone, and this is the pursuit of constant improvement. Imagine a world where you'd done the things that you said you were going to do. So everything that you said, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Imagine you followed through and you'd done all of those things. It'd be a pretty incredible position to be in, wouldn't it? You'd achieve pretty incredible things and you'd probably be closer to where you want to be, that's for sure. Well, in today's episode, I want to help you get into that position where you can start to do the things that you say you're going to do and you can stop disappointing yourself. Because I have been in that position where I've constantly told myself, oh, I'm going to do this. Oh, I'm going to try and do this. And I've never ended up doing it. And it's through 6, going on 7 years now of focusing on my self-improvement that I've started to discover why that is. And I've started to improve that myself. Now, we're never going to do absolutely everything, but we can sure make a start in doing a lot more of it. Because it's a very, very powerful thing indeed. If you become the type of person that does the things that they say they're going to do. That's one of the main things I'm striving for in life, is to become that. And there's a few things that I've placed into my life in order to help me do that. And that's exactly what we're going to go over today. Because one of the biggest things you gain from doing the things that you say you're going to do is not only obviously push you closer to where you want to be, but you gain a ton of self-confidence. My confidence has increased a lot over the past few years, and it has come from me saying I'm going to do something and following through and doing it. And there's a very famous and popular quote now that really well explains that. It's by Alex Hormozy. He says, "You don't become confident by shouting affirmations in the mirror, but by having a stack of undeniable proof that you are who you say you are." So if you say that you are a certain type of guy, that does a certain type of things, you need proof in order to be confident in that. If you don't have proof in it, you're not going to be confident. In fact, you're going to be delusional, if anything. And that's where a lack of self-confidence can come from. It's when you keep telling yourself, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and you don't end up doing it. Trust me, I've been there. And it's what so many people fail to realise until it's too late. It's, oh my God, I've been telling myself for years, I've been going to do this, I'm going to do this, and they never end up doing it. Because they start off with small promises, small wee things. Oh, I'll do it tomorrow, I'll do this, I'll do that, I'll achieve this, I'll start the gym tomorrow, next week, whatever. And they never end up doing it. And it really does take a big effect on your self-confidence going forward from there. Now, the more, as we said, you do things, the more proof that you build. It is one of the biggest things that I'm striving for at the moment. I think it's one of the biggest things that all people should strive for when looking to gain self-confidence from there. Because when I started with my fitness, with my self-improvement, I had zero proof. And that's why I wasn't confident. But for now, for example, I could very confidently say that I will get up at 4, 5, 6 in the morning, I will train in the morning. Not too many people can say that. But the reason that I can say that with the utmost confidence is because I've done it for a very long time. So by doing things consistently, by telling myself, oh, I'm going to do this, and I've done it, and I've done it again, and I've done it again, and I've done it again, I started to build confidence in that. Because that was my undeniable proof. I have proof that I've done it for so long. And that's what we're going to focus on today's episode. We're going to start focusing on how we can build that proof, because self-confidence is a rare thing now, but it's something that can come from becoming the type of person that does the things they say they're going to do. Now, one of the first things I want to speak about on doing the things that we say we're going to do is going to be getting clear on what we truly want. Because to do the things we say we're going to do, we need to know what it is that we actually want. Because I think too many people fall into the trap, including myself, of wanting everything. You want so many different things. You want to be in good shape. You want a good job. You want to have good relationships. You want a million different things. And what we tend to find is that when we have too many different desires, that we actually spread ourselves too thin and we don't get any of them. And there's a quote by Naval Ravikant, and he says, "Desire is a contract that you make with yourself to be unhappy until you get what you want." So what he's saying there is, when you have too many desires, it's going to lead to misery. You're never, because you're basically saying to yourself, right, I'm not going to be happy until I get this, until I do that. And a problem with doing the things that we say we're going to do, a problem that comes up is when we have too many of these desires. We keep saying, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that, whatever. However, what we need to do is we need to narrow that. We need to get clear on what it is that we truly, truly, truly want. And then we can push forward with that and stop setting too many desires from there. So what I try to do is pick one overarching focus, one thing that I can pursue, one thing that I can advance at and push forward with. And it means that we can build consistency with that. Because if we have too many desires, then we'll constantly be disappointed. It's like, oh yes, I achieved this. Oh, but I didn't achieve that. And you'll never be happy until you achieve all of them. So what we need to work on is narrowing our vision really and thinking, right, what is it that I truly want? Not what other people want, because everybody will tell you need this, you need that, but what is it that you actually want? What's going to make you happy? What's going to make you fulfilled? And then you can pursue that from there. So that's one of the most important things that I've done. I have blocked out, I have removed these previous desires that I found out after more introspection, after I actually delved into it, that it was just projected onto me from others. Like, oh, you need to have this type of car, you need to wear these types of clothes, you need to be around these types of people. Like, it's all just status-based things that I didn't need. I thought I wanted them, but I didn't. I don't want them. I don't even need them. So that allowed me to remove them, and now I have a very clear focus on what I truly want and the type of person that I want to become. And that means that I can start to do the things that I say that I'm going to do from there. Now, once you've done that, okay, once we've looked at, right, this is what I truly want, now obviously we still need to do those things. We need to learn how to get better at those things. And one of the easy ways to do that is by creating structure, creating monthly goals, things like that. That's one of the first things I've done. I made monthly goals, which gave me something to push forward towards. Because in order to do the things you need to do, you need to know what it is you actually want to achieve. And monthly goals can be a great way to do that. By setting goals, it makes sure that you don't have too many desires, too many focuses. You think, like, these are the things that I want from a month. You can do it from a week, you can do it from a day, whatever timeline you want. Just get clear on those things that you want and start to push forward with them. Because when I went back to my start of my own kind of fitness self-improvement journey, and I did want all these different things, I never felt like I had any clarity, any consistency, and I never felt like I was doing the things that I said I wanted to do. I always felt disappointed in myself because it wasn't clear. I hadn't set monthly targets or goals and thinking, right, this is what I want from my months. And again, it just gives you that tunnel vision, that narrow vision to go and pursue something from there. Another thing I do to keep me on track is reviewing my weeks, because it allows me to say every single week, did you do what you said you were going to do? That's an important thing. Some people never ask themselves that. They never ask themselves, right, what did you do today, or what did you do this week? Did you do the things that you said you were going to do? Because then it allows you to say, right, well, I didn't do it, and then you introspect it, you delve into it, you find out why. A really powerful thing I learned once was, like, literally, see if you want to get to the bottom of a problem, a lot of problems can be solved just by asking why. If you ask why 5 times, like, why didn't I do this? Or because of this. Okay, well, why did this happen? Okay, and then you just keep going and going. Keep asking why, and then it gets you to the bottom of that problem a lot of the time going forward. So that is something you can get from reviewing your weeks, and it keeps you accountable to doing the things that you say you're going to do. So every week, if you look back on your week and you ask yourself that question, did I do the things that I said I was going to do? And guess what? If you didn't, that's fine. We realise why, and then we push on forward. Because so many people don't give them that chance to reflect and look back. So going through, they're saying all these things at the start of every week. They're saying, right, I'm going to do this, this, and this. They get to the end of the week, oh, didn't do it. But they don't even they don't delve into it. They don't say, right, why didn't I do it? What happened? So it's just going to keep happening and happening and happening. So if you want to start doing those things that you say you're going to do, reviewing your weeks can be a great way to do that. Because if you don't do those things, at least you find out why, you push forward, and you begin to start doing them from there. Because that's what we need. We need to get to the bottom of these things. We need to solve them and push forward. That's self-improvement. That is improvement as a whole. If you don't get better, you find out why not, you overcome that, and guess what? You grow, you improve, you get better, you push forward from there. Now, one of the next thing that I feel like so many people miss out on, I missed out on it for years, was setting realistic expectations. For being people that constantly tell ourselves that we're going to do something and we don't end up doing them, we have very high expectations of ourselves. It's like, oh, well, I'm going to lose a stone in a month. So have you ever done that before? Have you got any proof of you doing that before? Chances are pretty slim you're going to do it. Oh, I'm going to run a 10K. You've never ran before, but you say you're going to run a 10K within the first week. Oh, I'm going to get up and train at 6 in the morning. You've never done it before. There's no proof there. So you're setting very high expectations. So one of the things I like to do is just half that. Okay, because we need to build proof. And to build proof, we need to do the things we say we're going to do. We need to start achieving things. So we need to set smaller goals, smaller expectations. And that can seem counterintuitive to what you hear online, like set big, drastic goals. And there can be times and places for that. But see, in the beginning, if you're somebody who lacks discipline, if you're somebody who never does the things you say you're going to do and you're constantly disappointing yourself, it's because you have such high expectations of yourself. Lower them, humble yourself and lower them. If you say you want to lose a stone a month, half that. Say you want to run a 10K, half that. Whatever it is that you say you're going to do, just half it. Achieve that first. Get those small wins under your belt. Build that proof. And then you'll start to, right, I'm actually starting to do these things. So again, if we set smaller expectations, we can do that. One of the big things that when you're training to be a personal trainer or a coach of any kind, one of the things that you're often told is make the first couple of weeks for your clients so easy for them to do. Do you know why? Because it builds confidence. It builds proof. If I go in with a brand new client and I give them a million things to do and they're really, really hard and they've never done them before, the chances of them failing is high. They're not going to do the things that we set out to do. So their confidence plummets. So set smaller expectations of yourself. Try to do smaller things. Build up that proof. Build up those wins. And as that grows, you can then set better goals, bigger expectations, because you'll be building discipline along with that. Because as your discipline rises, so will your expectations of yourself. And that's an important thing with that. Because with the more confidence we get, the more challenges we can take on from there. But it's important in the beginning to realise we're not going to be able to take on everything. Okay, so set smaller expectations, get those wins under your belt. Another thing that I fall for, I'm sure you will too, is being impulsive. Like, we need to be specific, because we have a lot of thoughts in every given day. We have a lot of impulsive thoughts. You think, like, it comes into my head all the time, I should do this, I should do that. But what a lot of people do is they take something and they run with it. See the amount of times somebody said to me, I could have a conversation with somebody at night about training, and they just pop in, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do that. I'm going to get up early and I'm going to train tomorrow. That sounds like a great idea. That will really help me. Yeah, it would. But you've never done that before. It's an impulsive thought. We need to think things through. We need to be specific. Because this is where a lot of people's problems lie, is they just, whatever pops into their head, you should get up early, you should try and lose a stone in a month, and then they just go for it straight away. They don't give it any thought. Remember the first thing we spoke about? It was realising what we truly want. And that means that when we have these impulsive thoughts, we can much easier make decisions on whether to push forward with them or not. So if I have an impulsive thought of saying, like, I should try and run this specific marathon, or do this or do that or whatever, I think, right, is that actually what I want, or is it just an impulsive thought, a thing that I would kind of like to do? And then half the time you can say, right, I'll put that on the side, I'll not do that just now, and it saves you disappointing yourself. Because again, that's what we want. We want to limit that. We want to build proof, we want to build wins and limit disappointment, because then our confidence builds, and then generally we just live a better life because of it. We get better results because of it. That's a really important going forward from that. With that comes not saying yes to everything. I'm very bad at saying no. It's something I'm working on a lot. I actually said that at the very beginning of the year, one of these podcasts, it was that I'm trying to get better at saying no. If somebody asks you to do something, if somebody tells you to do this, do you want to work out with me, do you want to do that, or can you help me do this and that, obviously a lot of the time your natural inclination is to say yes, but we need to get good at saying no. Because if we're always dragged into what other people want, then we're not going to be able to pursue what we want, and then we end up being disappointed when we don't achieve that. So if you can get good at saying no and only say yes to the things that truly, truly matter, then you can push on forward with that consistency, and you'll build a lot of confidence with that, and you'll begin to do the things that you say you're going to do. Because that's the problem. We take on too much on our plate. See, with these impulsive thoughts and with people asking us all these questions, if we say yes to everything, we're never going to do it. So no wonder we're so disappointed in ourselves going forward from there. Now, with today's episode, obviously it's been a bit of a shorter one there. With doing what we say we're going to do, it sounds very simple, it is very difficult, but to me the biggest takeaway is setting smaller expectations. If you've done this time and time and again, and you're so sick and fed up of telling yourself you're going to do something and you don't end up doing it, it's because you're setting too high expectations. So if you take anything away from this episode, that's what I want it to be. Lower your expectations, starts to build up wins, smaller wins, so you can push on forward from there. A few other things: be clear on what it is that you want, not what others want. Remember what Naval said in the beginning about desires and how we're never happy until we get those desires. If those desires come from other people, it's not going to matter to us. We're never going to actually do them. So make sure that what it is that you're pushing forward with and you're trying to do consistently is actually what you want. It's what you really want to push forward with. Because as we said, that's when we start to, we build out proof by making those smaller promises. And that's how we're going to do that from there. Set goals, review your weeks. They help you keep on track. They help you analyse and find out what is causing you to not do the things you say you're going to do. Without those reviews, we'll never know. So we need those reviews on a weekly basis from there. And as we said, be realistic. Don't let those impulsive thoughts win. And that's how we're going to actually start to become the type of person that does the things they say they're going to do. We're going to stop disappointing ourselves. We're going to check off what we say we're going to check off. And we're going to push on forward from there. Because that's what I focus on at the moment. It's one of my biggest focuses, is setting smaller expectations of myself, making sure that the things that I'm telling myself I'm going to do, I follow through and I do them. And at the moment, it's paying off. My confidence is building. I'm getting better results than previous. So I'm sure it will work for you. Now, Epictetus has a really good quote that I like that really well aligns with this. And he says, "From this instant on, vow to stop disappointing yourself. Separate yourself from the mob. Decide to be extraordinary. And do what you need to do now." Now, with that quote, it's very sudden. It's very like start now. But what I take from that is obviously vow to stop disappointing yourself. And he says separate yourself from the mob. Because so many people do this. Like so many people are telling themselves, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. We need to separate ourselves from that. Lower your expectations in the beginning. Get those small wins under your belt and start now. Vow to start now and then just push on forward with it. Now, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I hope you took some value from it. I hope whatever you take from today, it can help you become consistent and help you start doing the things that you say you're going to do in your own pursuit of constant improvement. Thank you for listening.